Welcome back to Factorio, and it's a new major version, 0.16, which has the usual somewhat anticipated effect of deleting my save game. Well, not deleting my save games, breaking my save games. So, I guess we're going to have to start a new map. There are lots of nice new features, of course, that come with the 0.16. One of the major ones is a new terrain system, so we can have that. And for those of you who haven't played Factorio before, if you're new to the channel, if you haven't heard of it before, well, shame on you, but hopefully you will have heard of it at least. It's again about building a factory with lots and lots and lots and lots of machines. So, I thought we'd get started by just grabbing all the stuff off the ground. We've obviously crashed, and it is a new map, so there should be a starting set of resources for us. I don't think there's much else. I think I've pretty much gathered it. Maybe some more bits and pieces over here. Yeah, you don't get very much. So if we zoom out, you see we've got a few things. And if we go onto the map, this is why I've picked it. All of this stuff is in range and quite close, at least this starting area. So we've got some sapphirite, 600k, some steratite, 400k, some rubyite, some bobmonium, some oil, natural gas, and coal, next to some water. So that's a good place to start. Let's pop down our burner ore crusher to start with. Doesn't much matter where we put it, I guess, but I want it within range of some rich resources. So let's just put you here and pop those out. We can put you in, and let's just grab some wood from nearby trees just to get us started. Ooh, that's a point actually. Do we have enough trees? We don't have very many. I may have to go for a bit of a run if we need trees from elsewhere. As you can see on the map on the right hand side, there are already monsters out there, but we are playing with peaceful mode because they don't really add much excitement. They just literally head straight for you as soon as they sense you there. So let's use even distribution to get rid of all of those. Even distribution is a mod. You can hold down the control key, for instance, and then drag over some buildings with some fuel in your inventory, and it will distribute them, as you might imagine, evenly. Let's choose steratite manufacturing, so that should start everything up. This is, sorry, not steratite, sapphirite manufacturing, that should start everything up into the ore crusher, where of course we're going to get ore coming back out eventually. We've got bits and pieces. We've got some iron plate, basic electronic boards, motors, and some stone bricks. We're going to get some more stone out of this, so we can just grab both of those. And we're probably just going to put this in here along with, well, it's going to burn the wood that we put in there initially. We're going to want to head and get supplies. Particularly, we want coal, at least early game. So I'm going to want to make, ooh, we've got more wreckage. We're going to want to get some more burner miners going for some more coal. In order to get more, whoops, I'm out of fuel already. In order to get more coal, we're going to need 2 mining drills, at least, burner mining drills. And to get that, we're going to need stone bricks, because that's how you make burner mining drills in this modded version of the game with angels and bobs. So we're going to make that. So we go over to this menu, there you are, and we can make 4 stone at least. And if we put those in a furnace, we will get stone bricks slowly. And I think I can just evenly distribute half a stack just by control right click dragging instead of left click dragging. Okay, we've got 4 stone bricks, which means I can make a few things. And the main one that I want is another burner mining drill. We've already got 1, but we need 2 really to get an endless chain going for coal. And you may notice the coal texture is actually nicer. Yeah, that's new, I think. So let's pop you in. It's much lighter. You can see much more of the ground underneath. Both of these are going to keep going. We don't actually want any wood in them. We want them to be supplying with coal. But one of the mods I have automatically fills them with some fuel when they get started. So you do have to empty them. But once they're actually going, we're going to get some coal, which is exactly what we've just got. Ooh, and more wreckage. Finding more every time I bypass this. And more wreckage. It's all empty now, isn't it? Nope. There's some. And there's some more. We're just getting iron plates. And iron plates are generally quite useful to start off with. Alright, so now we can switch from wood to coal. hopefully. And put the wood away. That's going to be fairly precious. All right, so now we are into a little bit of a sort of chain of events where I need to make more stone. Stone comes from here, which also produces sapphirite. Sapphirite can go into here also to produce iron. We can actually upgrade that a little bit just by adding an extra stone furnace. And then we can stop sharing stuff between them. We can have one dedicated for stone and the other one dedicated for iron. Which, in fact, I think I'll put in this top one. Yeah, it's going to complain about fuel, but that's no real big deal. We can just pop all of that in there. And hopefully our coal miners have got a little bit more coal. Now, to get us back up to speed on Angels and Bob's Factorio, I am going to skip a little bit of what I did in the 0.15 series, so I won't be doing as much explanation. If you are new and you require more explanation, please do let me know. I'm more than happy to give it, but I assume you've already seen some of the episodes perhaps, and you may want to skip a little bit of the detail. So let me just grab a couple of you, and we'll keep on making stone while I do this off camera. The speed of this initial setup, we're going to start by actually putting in more of these burner mining drills around this one. Not so much to get this third sapphirite, I will get that name right, to actually increase the amount of stone. Stone is actually the limiting factor very, very early on in the game, which in fact is where we are right now. So we want more and more stone bricks. In order to get that, we need more and more of this processing going on. So do actually build for stone first. And once you have enough stone, you'll be able to go and build, well, a lot more. The next thing we're aiming to do is to reproduce this exact setup over here on the stirritite, and also to upgrade this sort of mutually feeding setup up to 6 or so, or maybe even 8. Doesn't really matter too much, but as long as we get more than 2, then it should feed us with enough coal to keep going. Okay, so we've got another equivalent ore crusher setup over here, 4 of them. That's about as much as you can actually get on one of these starting ore crushers. And of course, we've got 2 furnaces here that we can use for the byproducts of this process. So if you put, let's say, you in here, and I'm going to just put a couple in there, I think, and I'll distribute the rest evenly. At least half of my current stash of coal. And this, of course, is going to produce copper plate, which is the other thing we need. Iron and copper, just like the base game. And in fact, I can see already that some of the stuff up here is running short. So let's do another half stack around here, shall we? With even distribution, hopefully, once I'm in range. I'll just put the rest in there. Okay, so starting research, we can do a bunch of different things. I guess we can start off with basic automation as normal. Yeah, wood processing. We want the minimum sort of research to get going, and that is going to be basic automation. So let's just get that going. In order to do that, however, we need to build a burner lab. Right, it is down here. 10 motors and 6 out of 10 copper plate. You're not going to get enough copper plate from the wreckage at the start to be able to build one to start your research tree. So that's why we're going to need this. And we've got enough now, hopefully. Yep, we've got a burner lab. And then we should be able to make at least the red tier. That also needs copper plates and iron gear wheels. So good thing we've got copper and iron. Burner lab. Doesn't matter where you put it because you're going to be using coal for it. So I guess we could put it down into coal machines. And once I'm in range, I think I need some long reach mod just because I'm doing YouTube. Other than that, it should be okay. Let's just grab the rest of you, and then we should be able to feed it at least some coal. It's now going to need red science. And because we're Angels and Bobs, you don't just have 6 science packs. No, you have science pack 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, military, production, high-tech, space, logistic, and exploration token biotech. Okay, so let's get the science pack started just with some more copper plates and some more iron plates, which is all the way over there. Okay, so our science packs are on the go and they are being burned up in the burner lab down here. Hopefully you can still see that on camera. It is going dark, so I'll just zoom in a little bit until I get some lights and electricity going. So, yeah, all we have to do is wait for basic automation, and that's going to give us, what does it give us? Burner assembling machine. So, excuse me, everything is coal-based to start off with. Not much we can do about that, but it will get us some basic automation. And basic automation is done, as you can see at the top right. So I guess we can switch on to the next thing. Basic logistics looks like a decent candidate. What's electricity? That's 50. Okay, back to basic logistics it is. So that will give us belts. In the meantime, however, we can now make a couple of assembly machines. The burner assembly machine and the burner inserter, I believe. And I can never remember which category they're put under. They are in here somewhere, though, I promise. There we are. So there's the burner assembling machine. What does this do? It takes coal. It lets us do the same thing we can build personally. So the pocket crafting we have at the bottom left of the screen. So I'm just going to build a couple of them because the first thing we're going to actually use it for is a very, very straightforward use. We're going to use it to just get rid of the, what do we call it? The crushed stone from here. I'm going to take the crushed stone and we're going to set this to make the actual stone. And then we're just going to insert it into, let's just a couple of burner inserters. We're just going to insert it straight into this furnace, which is producing stone bricks. And then we're just going to output those into a iron chest. Like that. Suggested tutorial? No, I don't think so. I don't need to do that. And this is going to require some fuel, of course. So, if I keep you fueled, you are now working, although you're quite slow-ish. Well, I suppose not that slow. And, of course, you're going to be getting rid of the stone. Now, we've no way to really automate... oh, actually... yeah, no, we can. Let's just automatically do this, shall we? Let's get rid of this automatically. We need to just rebuild a little bit of stuff, but that's no big problem. We can just do something called direct inserting. If you're new to the game, you may not know what all these terms are. Don't worry. All it basically means is instead of putting something onto a belt, we're just going to insert it from this factory into this factory. Now, you normally can't do that unless you've got an ability to specify a recipe, which we have here. So if I specify stone, the only thing it can insert from that factory, or I keep calling them factories, this ore crusher is the crushed stone. So the only thing this can take is the crushed stone into normal stone. And of course, we can then put that into a furnace, and then from the furnace into a box. Oh, that makes sense. I just need more burner inserters. There we go. So let's just put you here and here, and let me actually just put that one there, just so they're all in a line. You get the idea. And this will just produce stone bricks in a box. Of course, this won't get rid of the saphirite in here, and we'll need a better tier of furnace to be able to do that, because just like this, if we're going to direct insert, we need a furnace that has a recipe, and these ones don't. So if we ever ran out, for instance, or if they decided to randomly pick, if this ever ran out of ingredients, it won't right now, but if it did, it could insert crushed stone instead of this ore, the saphirite. And if that ever happened, then it would jam that furnace, and away we go. So we've got to choose a better class of furnace, and I need to make some more of those wonderful red science packs. 10 of them. That'll get us belts. We don't quite need belts with this particular setup, but, you know, we've got something going. And, of course, we can do the same thing over here, which is now run out of fuel, of course. To get all of these, I have to get closer. I need long reach. I need to put long reach back on. I forgot which mod it was that added it. It used to be called long reach, but now it's part of a mod that has a bunch of other stuff in it, so I need to go and find out where that's gone. Okay, do we have anything else? Yeah, we've got some copper, and that's pretty good. I'm going to set the same thing here to get rid of the stone. So one away, then another furnace, and then a box. And another burner inserter. Thankfully, the burner inserters can share fuel with everything else, so that will make this easier. And I think a mod called Burner Leech, which lets it share the coal. So burner inserters are well known for that. They take coal from whatever the source they are to power themselves, as well as passing everything else across. And in our case, we want that to always happen if we're going to use burner inserters. We don't particularly care about pollution, but we will, of course, replace them later with something a tad better: electric inserters. So as you can see, it's passing coal across, which is passing coal across, and that's passing coal to itself, so it doesn't need anything else. But we do need the recipe here, so we just pick stone and it will start to, you know, take that out. And I will just pop some of that in to get it started. Cool. So on to researching. Have I made all those technical science packs? I have. Good. Pop you in. And where do we go next on research? Don't think I need steel yet. I think the next one is probably electricity. That's useful, or heading towards that that furnace. Let me take a quick look. Yeah, so here's that furnace that I want very, very much, the metal mixing furnace. And to get to that requires us to go through automation and through electricity. So electricity, unfortunately, is going to be next. That needs 50 science packs. So we're probably going to use burner inserters and burner assembly machines to make science packs for us. So what I usually do is set up a burner lab setup that is temporary, but still somewhat more automated than what we've had so far. To do that, we're going to use a box first of all. So we want, in fact, it's not the box I want to use to measure this out. I want to measure it out using these inserters, because these are going to be pulling from the same thing. In this case, a box right there. I'm going to insert to that box from at least one factory. Now, this may not be fast enough to be able to supply all three of these. If so, then we can just separate things out a little bit. Actually, let me just do this. Let's see if we just share one box with two of those, shall we? And then we're going to have them going this way. And I'm going to need more burner inserters. So we're going to insert from the top, from up here, from, let's say, here and here. Seems reasonable. We can put in our burner inserters, pull them out from the other side, and then just have burner labs. We don't need to worry about electric cables or anything. It'd be nice if I could put priority to the side ones, but if I can't do that, then it's no worry. So they all need fuel, of course. So what do these need to make? These need to make the red science packs. And to do that, they're going to need iron gear wheels and copper plates. Copper plates I'm going to pull in from the sides, probably. A couple more iron chests. Not right there. Probably there and there. And then up here, we're going to have something to manufacture iron gear wheels, perhaps. And hopefully this is going to be fast enough to feed both of these. We'll see about that in a second. But this is the idea. We need one more burner inserter. There we go. So this one is going to be gears. And this is also going to be red science packs. And we're right next to the coal, so we should be able to pick up some fuel. And let's just distribute this fuel, shall we? Not too far away from these. All right, so now they just need some starting materials. So let's say if I take something like this, feed in both of these sides, these should start making red science packs, which they are, which should be fed into this box, which should be fed into these, which should automatically start the research for electricity. Straightforward, but for now we're going to have to manually feed it, unfortunately, and everything else keeps running out of fuel. Yeah, neither of you have anything. Fine. Plenty of stone bricks, though. And once we've actually got lots of stone being produced, the early game is also about getting rid of stone, because once you've got enough of it, it carries on piling up pretty much forever. So you've got to get rid of it somehow. We can warehouse it, box it up, ship it away, crush it if we want to again. It doesn't really matter too much, but we do have to get rid of it. So I've got some more iron plate. I should probably make another box and put that above here, which I can then feed with another inserter. So all of those are inserting, and we're getting red science packs, just not very fast. Yeah, they're all fed with coal. Okay, so it's going to take a little bit of time, but it does have everything started. And it is being taken by both of these machines. So I guess one should do just fine. It's keeping ahead of these. Okay, so let's cover ratios for a little bit. If you're new to the game, ratios just mean, you know, how many of these machines you need versus how many of these machines versus how many of these. You get the idea. So if you go into them, it's important you use the machine that you're constructing, or the level of machine, because these have multiple levels, which are multiple speeds. If we go in here and go to gear, which is what the first machine's making, on hover over, you can see how long it takes to make its product. That's an iron gear wheel. It takes half a second, and it takes 2 iron plates every half a second. So it takes 4 iron plates every second. Hopefully that's straightforward. But it produces then an iron gear wheel every half second. If we then look at science packs, you'll see that they take 1 iron gear wheel every 5 seconds to produce 1 science pack. So we obviously don't need any more than 1 factory assembling machine to make red science pack 1s. We do, of course, or we are going to be pretty starved of copper, and that's the main bottleneck of that system when we get started. Copper just takes a little bit of time to produce, and it pretty much hoovers up the copper. It uses, I think it was 4 copper plate every 5 seconds, was it? Let's plus you down again, just to check that. Science. What was it? Yes, it's 2 copper plate every 5 seconds, but there's 2 of those machines, so it's 4 copper plate every 5 seconds, and we're not producing anywhere near that amount. So for the moment, I don't think we are anyway. So for the moment, we can just split that in half and then place the rest of it in the other box, and we'll get to work quite happily and fill these as fast as we can. What I can probably do is take this one off, because I don't think this extra one's needed. It'll work fine with just 2. And when we add a third one, it sort of alternates between these 2, but they never are both on at the same time. We'd need more of these assembling machines for it. Not that it's needed right now, because that's a very, very temporary setup, just to get us to electricity and a couple of other research points. Okay, with electricity researched, and we're actually working through logistics, which is a very, very cheap bit of research, we can now make more stuff. In particular, unlike the base game, we would normally, well, in the base game, we'd normally get water to turn to steam, to put through a steam engine to actually get power. The early tier of modded, or this particular modded game, has a shortcut there. If we look at electricity, elec, we have the burner turbine generator. You feed it coal, it produces power. Magic. And that has paused because it's jammed full of ore. Nah, let's actually feed these. Logistics is finished, so we're going to head towards electronics, I think. Is there anything else before that I want? It'd be useful to do this, actually. Get the ore crusher, an ore sorting facility. Let me take that one. We're not going to do an intro to that one this episode. We'll do it next episode. But let's have a look at some of the electricity stuff. So we want the turbine, don't we? What do we need for you? We need electric motors. I suspect that's iron and copper. And I think it's because I'm out of copper. Electric motor? Yeah, we're out of copper. Okay. That's an easy one to remedy, or it would be if we're not jammed, which we look like we are. There we go. And feed both of these furnaces. Keep them going and get much more, quite a lot more copper. We can make some electric motors, which means we can hopefully make the turbine. Just one will do to start. You don't have to build many more. You're just going to feed it coal and you're going to be able to get electricity out of it. Now, not much that actually uses electricity yet. We can make inserters, which will use electricity. And some of the machines we're probably about to get from mechanical refining will use electricity as well. I think the ore sorting facility and the ore crusher use them, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so they're going to need electricity supply. So let's put these burner turbine generators down near our coal field. We're probably going to pull coal out of here soon. So anywhere near here should be fine. We don't have to worry too much about placement, I don't think, other than just having it nice and symmetric-ish for our own OCD tendencies, or our own sort of building things correctly tendencies. Yeah, we don't actually need to connect that to anything just yet. Are you finished with mechanical refining? Not just yet. Okay, so what else are we going to do? We're going to need a power line probably over to our ore facilities eventually, or one over here and one over here, so we may as well build some... yeah, we're short on wood, so I think I'm going to use iron for our power. And we're probably going to want to have... yeah, I want to say down the middle, because we're going to put another turbine here eventually. So maybe if we have a gap between them, something along those lines. Then you can hold down and then just run one direction, and it'll drop electric poles at the maximum distance that they can connect to each other, which is pretty good and a nice time saving. Okay, so with mechanical refining finished, we should be able to make the upgraded machine, the ore crusher. I think we can. Yeah, we can. We have to pocket craft it, but that's no problem. And that should mean that we can upgrade this to use electricity, I think. We haven't got to the thing we've got... well, we need a different solution for the burner miners, because they don't fit in the same space that an electric one does. So we'll need actually another piece of research to get that, which is electric mining. So let's take that, and that will then replace these with the electric version. And we'll do that conversion overall. The only one I'm going to cover in this episode, because it's just straightforward to cover, is just replacing this with this. And you're going to say you have no power, because I haven't fed it with anything. So if we just feed this with some coal, it hopefully should manage its own power. There we go. And are you going to get power now? Or am I short? I'm one short. It won't stretch one further. Well, I'll put it right here. I will use 2. So now I no longer need coal here, and we're going to be doing the same thing with everything else that we can possibly get our hands on. And that does mean that we're also going to wait for this electric mining, and we're going to wait for electronics, which is the one I wanted. Actually, we need automation first, but after automation we get electronics. Automation gets us a stone crusher, gets us assembly machine 1. That's the electric version of the assembly machine, rather than using coal, which we want. We want lots of those. And we want to make them automatically. So she's a production line for those other things: gears, electric motors, and burner assembly machines. Then we want electronics, which means we can make metal mixing furnaces, which are very cheap, it looks like, but we can then select the recipe, which will let us streamline the whole process. Okay, so we're going to do that next episode, I think. This is enough for one episode. I don't want to blow your mind with Factorio stuff if you're new to it. And if you're not new to it, I'm sure you can point out new ways and better ways of doing this sort of approach. It's quite simple to start, but it gets more complicated later on. So hopefully you'll join me for that, and feel free to thumbs up if you liked it. And if not, let me know why in the comments. I'm just wondering whether you guys would like Factorio content on the channel or other games. So I thought I'd do a quick playthrough of this, and hopefully there won't be another major version of Factorio. It does take 6 months between versions, so there is a good chance we won't have to deal with that whole problem again for quite some time. Alright, thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you next time.